Entertainment Mode Soldier here, and I am back to talk about Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 1, Episode 5, and my thoughts on this episode. I think it's a good episode. I think it is a lot better than last week's episode, but the story is still kind of in the same place as it was like Episode 2. Like, we've moved forward a little bit. We've got a little bit more character development. We had a big fucking reveal in this episode, which, you know, I kind of wasn't that surprised. I was a bit gutted. Because she is very hot. But, yeah, a big surprise. But overall, the episode, again, I like the episode. But we kind of need to get on with it now. We're at episode 5. This is a 10-episode series. We've got to keep moving. We've got to get somewhere. I mean, I like the ending. I like the reveal at the end. Because I actually did not see that coming. And I do like the characters in this. Listen, Kate is a great actress. Absolutely great. May is also a good actress. There was a little bit of a problem in this episode with her acting, but not like massive. Kentaro was good as well. And again, Kurt Russell's always going to be good. Because he's a great actor. But I'm just disappointed that it feels like we're just going a bit too slow now. We've had 4 episodes kind of trying to get us to the point of finding their dad. And this episode, unfortunately, just felt like episode 2 again, which is unfortunate. But I'm not saying it's a terrible episode, because it's not. It's a good episode. I am still enjoying the story, but I am getting to this kind of point now where I need the fucking show to get on with it. You know, I need to know where we're going to end up, because if all we're just going to keep doing is just doing what we did in episode 2 and episode 3 again and again, then what's the point? So, what would I give this episode out of 10? What would I give it, though? I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's the lowest I've given one of these. But again, the problem for me is just we're taking a bit too long, and I just want the show to get to the point, is what I'm just saying. So it's a 6 out of 10. It's an okay episode. It is better than last week's episode, but the problems there are just we seem to be just slowing down the story, and I really need them to get to the point now. So let's go to the spoiler section. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave in 3, 2, 1. So episode starts off with everybody pretty much imprisoned by Monarch. I didn't think Monarch had these sort of powers, to be honest. I still thought it was mainly a scientific group with a military wing, which now seems to have a spy and capture group. So that's a bit strange. Again, I know they've explained to us that Monarch isn't just this science group. They are like the CIA. But I kind of need them to explain that a lot more, of how the hell that happened. And the problem with this episode, and the problem with last week's episode, is we've stopped getting the flashbacks. Like, showing us how Monarch turned into this. Like, you need to keep that going in these episodes. How the hell did a science-based group get turned into basically a CIA group? And I know people are going to say, well, they did explain that the military got involved. I get that. I do. But that doesn't kind of explain the CIA part of them. And I kind of need them to get on with that. Like, how the hell did Monarch become like this? Like, how did Shaw let this happen? How did any of them let this happen? So, I get it. I know there's still 4 episodes. They've got plenty of time. I know. But, you know, again, get to the point. Get on with it. So, they're all being captured by Monarch. They're all kept in separate cells. And we get the deputy head of Monarch having a little chat with Shaw. Now, she is the deputy, so it looks like she's trying to, bump up her career to the head of Monarch, because by, getting Shaw to talk, getting all the, finding a way to get to the information that they've taken, because they did try to get to the laptop, but because of that creepy teacher last time freezing the computer, that pretty much wiped it out. So Monarch is trying to use every way to get this information, because apparently there's a lot of important information on there. They need it, and the deputy head talks to Shaw and says, listen, we're the good guys, we're trying to protect humanity. But Shaw's like, you were that once, but now you seem to be a group that just wants to watch and, get money. And it's kind of like him explaining, like, Monarch isn't really doing what we're supposed to do. It seems to have just turned into this kind of useless organisation. I mean, they had 60 years to prepare for G-Day. 60 years to prepare for Godzilla. And where was Monarch? Nowhere. And again, that's why you need to have flashbacks. Like, maybe show how Monarch kind of turned away from being more science and more military. Like, I know you did an episode where you did say that the military are going to be involved, but we haven't seen, like, what happened. Like, who did they put into Monarch? Like, how did they take control? Because, in Skull Island, Monarch was a kind of joke organisation. I mean, if you remember, they were begging for funding. And now they're like this CIA black box kind of group. Like, how did that happen? So, whilst they're having this discussion, Tim and the French woman are kind of discussing, like, Tim is talking with the French woman, and the French woman is still kind of confused. Like, why is this information so important? Why are they not, focused on something else? And Tim just says, listen, the information in the book, or from those manuscripts or whatever they were, it has important information on it that can help them fight Godzilla. It could give them information on sites they need to check out. And then the French woman brings up the fact that Shaw is like in his 90s, but looks like he's in his 60s. So, it's a kind of little joke where she says, don't say it's in the files, and he just says, well, it probably will be in the files. But we also got this kind of little detail from Tim that apparently there was a mission that Shaw went on that went horribly wrong. And that might explain why he has aged a lot slower than regular people. So maybe we'll find out about that in the future, probably. So the deputy head comes out of the talk with Shaw, pretty much trying to figure out a plan to deal with the group. And Tim pretty much says, and I think the French woman says as well, let them go and we'll keep an eye on them. So Monarch pretty much says, that's fine, we'll keep tabs on them. And the French woman then has a private discussion with May, who is completely recovered from last week's episode. I kind of think that was a bit stupid. Like, she did nearly have frostbite. You don't just walk away from that. That's kind of a week to month kind of thing you got to deal with. I'm not going to, pick at that and say like it destroys the episode, but again, because in this episode they do something fantastic, which I will go into when we get there. But this one little detail is kind of like, she shouldn't just be able to walk around. Again, she did nearly have frostbite, and I've dealt with that sort of shit. Like, you don't just recover from that. That's something you really, it takes a bit to get over. Anyway, so the French woman offers May a deal, and then we go to another scene. Well, May pretends to refuse it, but then I think they have more of a talk, and then the scene changes. Monarch lets all three of them go, Kate, May, and Kentaro. they do a little bit of childish stuff when they call Tim a dickhead and arsehole and all that stuff. But Tim kind of tries to talk to them and say, listen, I'm trying to do what's best for the world. That information that you're hiding from us could save a lot of people's lives. And I'm not the bad guy here. I'm trying to help you, and I've used all my pull to make sure you don't go to prison. And so he gives them all fresh passports and tells them, do what you want, you're free now, just don't get involved in this again. So Tim jumps back in the van and says to the Frenchwoman, how did I do? Because, you know, this was pretty much manipulation from him, trying to get them to goad them into getting involved again, because they need to get them involved, so they will use the information from the computer, because it turns out May did save all that information on the cloud. So yes, the computer's broken, but May did have backups. So all three of them are kind of worried what to do. They are in Alaska right now, and you kind of get this funny scene with May, you know, hating Alaska for some reason and saying like a 1-star TripAdvisor stuff. It was kind of childish, but I'm not that bothered by it. So May wants to get out of there. She doesn't want to be involved anymore. She wants to go back to Tokyo, fix her life. She's gotten freedom now. She doesn't really want to deal with this anymore. But Kentaro and Kate pretty much tell her, like, they need to sort this out. Like, they haven't got Shaw with them because Shaw's still with Monarch. Like, they need to find their father. Their father is alive, and they need to find him. But May kind of brings up the fact, like, how is that her problem? He's not her dad, and that's a kind of, you know, she's not wrong, is she? But she kind of just accepts it as is fine, I'll help you. And so the plan is they need to find a way to find their father, and the only place they're going to find the information is to go back to America, or to actually go back to San Francisco. And this is the best part of the episode, I would say. So they go back to San Francisco, and what I love about this episode, because a lot of films, a lot of shows tend to go a bit crazy with stuff. You know, a monster goes through a city, destroys the fuck out of the place, and then next movie, next series, everything's fine. I mean, have you seen, like, the Avengers, like New York? I mean, New York literally had a battle, and it took a couple of days for it all to get fixed. And this isn't just that movie, it's like a bunch of movies. In this one show, in this one episode, you see the aftermath of Godzilla's attack when he was fighting those other monsters. Like, it is just a disaster zone. Like, you have FEMA all over the place. You have, like, these makeshift houses all over the place. Like, people refuse to leave their homes, or refuse to leave their homes too far. They've agreed to stay in these houses, but they don't want to be too far away from their original houses, which you can actually respect. So Kate, you know, gets a car for them from the airport, but someone called James turns up and tries to give them a lift. Kate seems very annoyed that he wants to give them a lift. Turns out this is the guy trying to date her mother, even though her father's still alive. But Kate kind of capitulates. But then we start getting her PTSD again, where she starts to remember stuff about what happened before Godzilla and what happened when Godzilla attacked. I did like these scenes, but in one of the flashback scenes from Kate, we do find out something about Kate, and we find out that Kate is gay. She's a lesbian. Now, people are going to go and say, this is woke. Oh my god, why are they turning this show woke? Stop. It's not woke to have a gay person in the show. What is woke is to turn a character who's been straight their entire, you know, lifespan, and then suddenly they're gay. That's the woke part. Some people are going a bit crazy with the word woke and just say because there's a gay person it is woke. That's not woke. Again, that's okay. Kate is a new character. She has not got a past where she was straight for a fucking 20 years and then turned gay, or like in Doctor Who, a character who's been straight for 60 fucking years and now apparently might like guys. Oh, I did see that, Doctor Who. Oh, I saw that. Anyway, so Kate is meeting up with her girlfriend at a special cafe, and they're trying to become serious with each other. But it seems like Kate's not really ready for this. You kind of see she's kind of very hesitant. Then we go back to the present, where they get to Kate's house, where we do get the most awkward scene of the episode, where Kate has to introduce Kento to her mother. Now, her mother is very happy to see Kate and, you know, happy to welcome in the friends. But then Kate kind of has to mention the whole, you know, secret son thing to her. And when she does, the mother is very shocked and taken back by it. Invites them in the house, but you can see that she is not exactly happy. She's not angry. She's just, I would say, sad. So she tries to welcome, you know, Kento and Mei in. She's trying to kind of talk her way through this, just not. I think she's trying to not accept it. Just do something to distract her from the situation. Then when Kento tries to help her with a box, she drops it and gets a bit angry with him. And then Kate tells Kento and Kate to go into her room whilst Kate and her mum have a chat. And then they have the chat, and Kate's more pissed off with her mother, not because she's overbearing or anything. It's that she's angry her mother's not getting as angry as she was. Now, I gotta say this, Kento's mother handled this 100 times better than Kate's mum. I've got to say that, like, at least Kento's mum was friendly. At least she wasn't over the top like Kate's mum is kind of being, I would say. But, you know, Kate's mum does say, listen, what the hell do you want me to do? Am I angry? Yes. Am I annoyed? Yes. But shouting at Kento is not going to help anybody. Kentaro, sorry. So, you know, they get through that, and Kate then tells her mum they need to go to their dad's office, and Kate's mum pretty much tells them that's in a dangerous area in San Francisco that's been locked down and locked off by the military that are now in control of it. They're basically, it's a military rule in there, and they are shooting looters, basically. And if you go in there and you are not given permission to, you would be classed as a looter, even if you're not looting. But Kate says they're going to go there either way. They'll go in there with the looters if they have to. So Kate's mum agrees to help take them there in their van. And when they go there, they get to the military checkpoint, where Kate's mum bribes an American soldier. I did see somebody on Twitter say, oh, that's a bit over the top. American soldiers would never take bribes. Listen, okay, listen. Everybody's got a price. Okay, you're a soldier. I've heard shit from Afghanistan. Trust me, a lot of soldiers take bribes. It's just, you know... Oh, I'm not really going to explain that. But again, this shit happens. It's not exactly an oddity. So, they bribe the soldier. The soldier lets them through. When they get into San Francisco, they find a little area to park up, where Kate's mum lets them out and tells Kate they'll wait here until 8 a.m. because they need to be out of San Francisco before then, or otherwise the military will class them as looters. So they've got a couple of hours to get to their dad's office to find what they need and get back there. So they agree and they walk through the city. The city looks like absolute dog shit, and again, I do love seeing this. Seeing the aftermath of Godzilla's fight with those monsters, seeing the whole city was decimated by it, and it's still recovering. Like, it's not been fixed. There's not even an attempt to fix it. It's just like, the city's fucked. We just got to kind of leave it like that until we can get around to sorting out. Again, I just like that. You know, being a bit more realistic with what would actually happen with a city being destroyed. Like, you can't just fix that in a week, in a year, even in 5 years. It would take so long to fix a modern city these days. I mean, have you seen what happened in fucking Haiti? I mean, Haiti's still fucked. And it was, I mean, let's be honest. It's like, that should have been fixed years ago. But, you know, real world and shit like that. Like, shit doesn't just get fixed like that. Which I do love about this show. It's like more realistic, you know, look at the Godzilla, you know, kind of era. And you even get like an advert at the start of this episode about people buying bunkers now because there's so much fear of Godzilla and all these monsters. Like, people are literally changing their entire lives because of Godzilla and all these monsters, which I like. Anyway, they're walking through the city. They stumble upon Kate's favourite cafe where she met her girlfriend. We get another flashback of Kate at her school with her kids and how the kids are reacting to the first Godzilla movie. You know, the attack on Tokyo at the airport and everybody kind of not understanding or not knowing what's going on. Is this real? Is this fake? You know, how the real world would react to this sort of thing. Because you would get people who would deny it. It's like, say, oh, it's a government, you know, propaganda, it's fake. And some people are terrified as fuck. And then the head of the school comes in to talk to Kate and pretty much tell her, we're taking this very seriously. We need to make sure these kids are safe. And you've got to make sure these kids' phones are all, you know, all powered up, and they're not, none of them, and they all know where to go for if there's an emergency. So the school's taking it really seriously. Go back to the present where they keep going through the city. Kento picks up a bag of crisps and gets told that's looting, we'll get shot for that. And he makes a joke of, well, I'll just eat the evidence, won't I? Which I kind of thought was funny. So whilst they're going through the city, they bump into some military guys. They hide from them. Kento manages to distract them by throwing the crisp that he had somewhere so the cats will get in. So the cats would seem like the distraction. Maybe not distraction. The cats would be the ones making the noise to distract the soldiers. So that does distract the soldiers. They move on. They keep heading through. And then unfortunately they bump into a shitload more soldiers. And then have to run into the underground, where the soldiers then start chasing other people because there was other people hiding down there. You can hear the soldiers tell them to stop. They don't have to live here. You know, normal stuff. And then Kate has more PTSD attacks, and whilst they're trying to get out of the tunnels, Kate is just frozen with fear. Because she remembers the attack on the bridge from Godzilla, the fact she lost kids because of that, and she then remembers the day before, or at least the hours before the attack on the bridge, where we bump into Kate's girlfriend again, because they're all getting the kids on the buses to get them out of San Francisco to safety. But it turns out Kate, not being ready for a full relationship or to actually live with her girlfriend, just decided to split up with her girlfriend and just, you know, have sex with random people. So, you know, basic things you do when you know, break up with somebody. You go fuck somebody else. I mean, it's a basic thing you do. Oh, God, do I know that. Anyway, so Kate, you know, she is depressed about the fact that she lost her girlfriend and the fact that she seems to lose so many people she loves. Of course, she does massively blame herself for the loss of those children on the bridge. She is so frozen by fear. Oh, I forgot the scene. I forgot a nice scene in the earlier. There was this scene between Kento and Kate where they're kind of talking about what their father used to do to kind of calm down the situation. You know, if it was a serious situation, he'd start singing show tunes or advertising songs to calm down the situation. I love this scene between Kentaro and Kate because they felt a bit more like brother and sister. And again, I do like the relationship between them. I love how that's growing. You know, two people who didn't like each other at the start are starting to love each other in a way. They're starting to kind of realise they are brother and sister. They are family. And I like that. I like that in this episode. Anyway, back to Kate going through her PTSD. She starts remembering her dad, and Kento kind of looks like, or at least that's what the show's trying to kind of say, Kento looks like the dad. So she starts to see Kento as her dad and her PTSD messing with you, and just pushes him and tells him to go away. And Kento kind of realises she's dealing with something right now. So Kento says, I'll find a way out of the tunnels. Stay here. They do that. May tries to calm down Kate. But Kate manages to calm down. Kento comes back, tells them there's a way out. They get out. They get to their dad's office. And they look around for a safe again. So Kento thinks it's behind the map, like it was in the office in Tokyo. Turns out what they're looking for is the map itself, because Kento manages to figure out, and so does Kate, that their father's route or or his plans of where he's going is on the map, but you have to get like a specific route through a special way. They use some fucking paper, put on some glass, let the sun shine through it, and it just selected areas that they need to go. So the first one was San Francisco. The next one was Alaska. The next one is Africa. So they need to head to Africa because that's where their dad should be. So they get the map, get out of the city, meet back up with Kate's mother, and get back to their house. And, you know, that's their plan. They're going to go to Africa to try to find Kento's dad. Kate tells her mum that their dad is still alive and that she still kind of have hope for that. But I think the mum's kind of moving on with that James bloke. But now that she knows their father, her husband, is still alive, I don't know where she's going to go with that. Anyway, whilst this is all going on and Kentaro goes to talk to his mum on the phone, we get this little final scene with May. And it looks like May is now working for Monarch. She wants to go home. She wants to be done with this. So she's made a deal with Monarch to, you know, be free of all this shit. And that's how the episode ends. I didn't see that coming, to be honest. I thought May was going to be a bit more stronger. But it turns out she really is just done with all this stuff. I think it's a good episode. Okay? It's not fantastic. I do want them to move the fuck on, but I am liking it still. Again, the ruins of a city, I love the fact they did that. Again, it's more realistic in the world. And again, I'm just sick and tired of shows and films just saying a city gets destroyed and then it gets repaired overnight. Like bullshit. But overall, it's a good episode. I liked it. I think the series so far is still good. I think last two episodes, I kind of would like it to be a lot better, but I'm still in it, and I'm looking forward to the next episode. And that's the end of my review. If you like this review, give it a like. If you dislike this review, give it a dislike. And if you like my content, do think about subscribing. And if you have a comment, leave it below, and I'll try to get to it later. Enter Wood Soldier. Bye.